Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. We will get kicked off here in just a moment. We're going to let everybody get situated and over from the last session. So we'll just get kicked off here in a moment. All right, great. Looks like we have a majority of people that have come over. Hope you're enjoying the day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you're joining us from. We are happy you are here with us today at Omnichannel Unpacked. My name is Wes Duquette. I am the Vice President and General Manager here at ShipBob for our B2B and retail technology side of the business. So I'm excited here today. I'm going to sit down with AZ Moyer, who's from one of our ShipBob merchants, Nood. AZ, he leads the accounting and retail sales at Nood. And if you're not familiar with Nood, Nood is now the #1 at-home hair removal solution. And it's really a cool pioneer in this industry we're really seeing pop up big at ShipBob, which is around in-home or at-home beauty. We have a lot of great products we are seeing our brands come out with. And Nude specifically started as a D2C brand, but we are a big part, and we have been, really excited to see them grow as a brand across a lot of major sales channels, both online and now in big box retailers. So this kind of multi-channel success is largely thanks to AZ, who's here with me today, and leads everything at retail at Nude. It's pretty cool how our brands that start omni-channel or that start online have become an opportunity to dive headfirst into omni-channel and successfully start shipping products to Best Buy, Target, all different big box retailers. So AZ, thank you for joining us here today. To start, can you give a little background on yourself and a little bit about Nude, if you could?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. You nailed it right on the head, honestly. I wish I just could take that as my intro. But really, just to add on to that, you know, uh, we're constantly innovating, improving, introducing new products to the market in the skincare industry specifically. So um, keep tabs on us, keep an eye out. We're always going to be launching new products. We have a really great launch coming in October. But outside of that, we're a scrappy startup, and there's a few other hats I wear for the business, but primarily as it relates to today, all things retail for fulfillment, and in large part, very very thankful for the partnership we have with ShipBob to see that all the way through.
Good. I love it. Well, I'm interested in the strategy that Nude saw and when and how you started to explore this concept of what we call omni-channel expansion. So, for those that certainly you've probably heard it who are here in the room today, it is that opportunity to move beyond where your original sales channel is. And often for SMB merchants now, that original sales channel is often online. So, AZ, I'm curious for Nude, how did you select kind of some initial channels to start with? Was there, metrics you were looking at, or what were some of the places you as a business and as a strategy were looking to go beyond just this initial D2C?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. You know, and like you said, that is, step one is direct to consumer. Shopify site, just the classic site. Um, you know, Solo founder is really our story. It was solo founder maintained it. He launched the product, and then started seeing some initial success. And him, he started getting reached out by smaller retailers that we're currently partnered with, and launched with them. And didn't really have a huge strategy behind it, but just started getting some notice in the market, and that's really when he started to ramp up the team and grow the team. But um, that's really the big point for us is as our resourcing increased, that's when we felt comfortable to expand into different channels because it takes so much. And as we both know, we've worked really really closely on our launches with Best Buy and Target. That it takes a lot. So I think initially it was kind of step one. Let's get online. Let's prove some product market fit. Let's get some adoption from our brand, and we did very very quickly, fortunately, and that's allowed us to not only receive inbound requests to launch into different retailers, but has allowed us to partner with the right people to go reach out and get meetings set. That has led to us being on shelf with Target and Best Buy currently.
That's really exciting and a cool journey, one that it's been fun for ShipBob to be a part of and see. Give me a chance to understand, when you go into this, you mentioned some pieces around resourcing. Um, Give me an idea of what it looks like both internally, so what it takes kind of, what you're thinking about doing as a Nood business. And I think you mentioned it, you wear a lot of hats in a sense, but what do you think about that resourcing? And then, how does Nood think about utilizing partnerships? And, we originally had partnered on the direct to consumer side. As you're starting to go into the B2B film fulfillment, thinking about, your resourcing internally, and then where are you going to partner externally to try and meet some of these potentially new demands. How did Nood look at that, and what are some of the pieces that hopefully has helped you in that next foray of your business?
Yeah, I would say a lot of trial and error. Fortunately and unfortunately, I definitely learned a lot in the process of getting on shelf in both of those stores. But really on the resourcing side, it requires a lot of attention. Right now, thankfully, we're shifting over to have a dedicated ship op rep to monitor B2B fulfillment. But there's daily routing checking, right? So it's logging into websites, portals for Best Buy, for Target, for your other retailers, and just making sure that routing's been received and things are moving along. Because each day, as we both know, are SLAs and fulfillment. You don't want to be behind on a day. So I think that the resourcing piece was just having the right people or partnerships, whether they be contracted outward, like we did with you all with all things fulfillment, really. And that really made it was a natural transition from our direct consumer fulfillment with you all to B2B because you all did that so well for us. And we had trust that you all would continue to do that and perform on the B2B side. But really there, and I would really stress the importance of that partnership because not only do you need internal resourcing to make sure your products are packaged, labeled, palletized properly, getting to the big box retailer on time, but you also need to strategize and figure out, okay, well, how much inventory do we need to plan for the year for this retailer? What's next? Is there another retailer in the pipeline? What products do we want to introduce here? Sephora doesn't want to carry a product that's sold at Target. It's something that we learned. So, you really have to play around with that. And I think that's where we're at now is really trying to take a step back. We've had a lot of really great success, 100%, fulfilled on time with all of our orders so far. That now we want to make sure that our next launch, whether it's new products into our current retailers or new retailers, is very well thought through, planned, and also has the proper resourcing. Because and then there's the reporting side as well, right? So making sure you're hitting those sales targets. So it's quite the hurdle to get through, but definitely with the help of you all on the fulfillment side, it made it way smoother than it could have been.
Good. I love to hear that. Yeah, and I think anytime you're going into new channels, those types of new things to be learned are always helpful to have a partner, but often can be new to many different parts of your business. Actually, AZ, before we get a little bit further into some of the other channel activity, I think one of the things that I hear often from our merchants and even those considering ShipBob or as I am in the industry is this initial piece of how do you get into retail. So before we get a little bit deeper into some of the pieces for Nood, I'm curious for Nood, how has that gone? I've often found there's not always a standard path into it. There's usually a story behind it. Can you talk a little bit about how you have approached, I think a bit of your role has been focused on that certainly, and how Nood approached that first, how do we get into retail type concept? And then I'm also curious, I know you run things on the accounting side and a lot of the, thinking about the dollars and cents. How has this gone from an economic standpoint? So first, curious how you get into retail, and then what are you seeing in the economics of this thus far?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Like, I'll kind of take that, that double-edged sword on both sides of that question. But, really when we think about launching into the retailer and, the metrics behind it that support that decision, initially it was profitability, right? Are we profitable? You have to meet certain margin requirements that retailers have, typically around 30 to 40%. So if you don't have similar margins or greater, you're not going to be able to provide that same margin over to the retailer. So that was kind of step one. Are we profitable enough? Can we continue to expand and afford enough inventory to continue to grow with that retailer as sales grow? But then it's when we've made that decision to go with a big box retailer and take that bet on ourselves, it was getting the right partners. And I think this is a common occurrence that you'll hear from me today is just having the right partners, and not only on the fulfillment side that I've talked about and we'll talk about more, but we worked with a broker, someone who's had direct experience with um, the retailers. They actually live in Minnesota, right next to them. Best Buy and Target are both in Minnesota, so we have a broker that's in their backyard, knows how to pitch to them, knows all the set dates. There are very, very strict timelines throughout the year for introducing new products, getting them set in store. If you don't hit them, you may never get another chance, or you may get delayed until the next set date. So there's just a lot that goes into that as well, and getting that meeting set, and then also having just a good introduction. So having that broker to um, you know really stand on your brand, and can pitch that to the buyer as well when we're not directly facing with them, is really, really helpful. And they also guide us to make sure that we're um, from a fulfillment side of things, package labeled, palletized correctly, and then also helping on the reporting side of things. So that's been a really beneficial partnership, but that's how we initially got into those pitch meetings, was through a broker.
Okay, I love it. And do a little bit of bragging for Nude today. Can you give me a sense which retailers you're in? You don't have to go into the future ones that you maybe want to be in or where you have. Can you give me a sense of which retailers Nude is in today?
Yeah, definitely. You can find us on Blue Mercury, Urban Outfitters, and Von Mar on their online accounts. There is a flagship store for Blue Mercury that we are in. It's more so of a display, and I think they have a low inventory quantity there. But that's kind of our online presence. Are those three retailers? We are working with a few local spas in the Ohio region, and have also actually contacted with some spas in Vegas. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there. But then on the big box retailer side, Target and Best Buy, we're online and in store with both retailers, and have quite the footprint across America right now.
Really cool story. Well, one other thing I wanted to get into was you mentioned some of the expansion of products you've had. When you think about that, you have your core product of that you've come out with initially, and then there's been a lot of additional products that I certainly know you have on your .com. How have you thought about those products in the omni-channel sense? Maybe in the sense of big box retailers and things of that nature. But when you think of channels outside of D2C and these new additional products, has there been a strategy or any ways you've looked at which places you put additional ancillary products? And maybe, even brag a little bit about some of the really cool things you've brought out as complementary products to your core product first.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the investment in new products and launching them, there's also investment in marketing, right? Now this is another channel that you may not have the attribution like Meta, where you can just be like, oh well, here's our our CAC, and all of our marketing metrics are right there. They're solid. On the retail side, it's not as clear, right? And you're having to fund certain marketing development programs that Target and Best Buy do, which made me realize, oh, all those Best Buy and Target commercials I see are funded by the vendors. So, there's investment there. And then there's also investment, around deals that you do in store. And do you want to invest in social media locally or geographically to the stores that are running deals? Do we want to maybe lean more on, offline advertising to push people in store? So there's a lot that goes into it on that front, and thinking about new products, launching new products, because there's also that element as well. Because typically things take some time to get moving, especially if it's a new product. But having that product in store, whether it's our new eraser that you'll see online, or our flasher products, it helps us meet our consumers where they are, right? A lot of people don't get on Facebook, or don't get on Meta, or don't get on Instagram, so they may not see our funny ads and purchase online. A lot of people are going to Target and in store, or maybe people who see our ad want to feel and touch our product in store. So it's really, really important to have that presence, but also have the proper strategy to support it from a marketing perspective, obviously an operations perspective. But when we think about new products too, something we've done is we launched a Best Buy exclusive color. It's called Blue Seal, because we figured, hey, with Best Buy, they have a primarily male audience that comes into their store. Let's go with our black and blue versions, versus our white flasher, which looks like this. So getting creative around that, we can launch a Target exclusive red color for their circle offers. So there's things like that we can think through, but yeah, it just all falls back on having the proper resourcing internally to not only strategize and plan for that, but to also execute and make sure that you can continue to perform. Because if you don't, perform or fulfill on time, that's where you do get in a pickle with the retail relationship. So that's why we're so thankful for the relationship we have with ShipBob.
What a great story. And yeah, it's interesting to, as I work with a lot of our merchants that become omni-channel, and it's, many of them have started as an online pure play. And part of the thought is you're going to replicate the same model that you've done potentially as your .com. And maybe even some of the creativity of the business is gone in a sense. Oh, we're just going to continue to replicate. I think this really highlights, AZ, how not only from a product standpoint, but certainly a marketing and a go-to-market, you can really start to differentiate it. And it sounds like need to differentiate how you think about that, how you invest in marketing, and really how you can stand out. So that's a really cool story. So AZ, one of the things I think is really, you've already shared a lot of really great advice here around, some of the things to start to think about when you're going omni-channel, some of the things to start to partner with. One thing I always find that feels very impressionable, and I actually often do with my teams a lot, is sharing some of the challenges you maybe come across, or any things that are big learnings, or interesting, sometimes horror stories that have, gosh, I'm glad we know this now and we'll never do it again as you're starting to switch channels. I think we had an interesting one, utilizing inventory from one channel to another. Would you be willing to share the story as we launched into Best Buy, and some of the learnings we had, and why it's good for thinking about all these things up ahead of time?
Yeah, definitely. And I think to that point of thinking of these things ahead of time, it's really, really important. And we really didn't know what we didn't know. So we felt like we were planned and we were ready. And our founder Sam did an incredible job on the pitch and got our buyers really, really excited. So we knew we had a good thing going. And but operationally, like I said, we just didn't know what we didn't know. So I would say, trying to work with your fulfillment partner, if it's ShipBob, they know the routing guidelines. So starting to understand, like, hey, we have, it's back there, but this package is 8 inches wide, and it's a box that we have, and we need 4 of those to go into master carton, and they need to be packaged, labeled the right way. So there's so many things that happen ahead of time before that very first time they come to pick up the first shipment. And one of those things was, and we had it all under control. We had a master packed. We had four flashers per pack, labeled, palletized. Everything was perfect, and it took a long time to get there. But we worked with the ShipBob team really closely. It was a big learning curve for us because we didn't have direct retail fulfillment experience, but we got there, and we got the product to Best Buy. It was great. Like, I was so proud of myself. I'm super, super excited. And then we get a text on a Saturday, or it was over a week. And so I remember being like, oh no, I got to attend to this. And it was our broker who said, hey, they can't accept any of the inventory. And your set order is typically, in our case, it was several thousand units. So it's a big, big order right off the bat, and they couldn't accept them. And how I'm envisioning this is like, they're just sitting like outside and they're getting rained on. Not really, but they're just like sad boxes waiting to be accepted. And the reason they couldn't be accepted is because on our packaging, for Amazon specifically, we needed a mention that said "do not" or "not for resale" on our box. It was a legal addition that we added to our packaging to prevent resellers on Amazon. But that's not what you need for retail fulfillment, right? You can't have "not for resale" on the box. So that was definitely a learning curve. We worked with the Best Buy team to get stickers over all of those boxes, and have since changed our packaging. But that was definitely a big one.
Well, AZ, that's a great learning. I think it shows that planning and preparation up ahead of time is really important. AZ, in our last few seconds, want to hear what's next for Nood, what's coming up in 2025 and 2026.
Well, we are going to continue to crush the hair maintenance space, so please keep an eye out for us. Follow along on our Instagram and Nood.com, because we're going to have some really, really great products that are going to make you feel more confident in your skin.
Awesome. We love to hear it. Well, we appreciate the partnership. We are really proud, not just that we got everything done in Best Buy really quickly for the first time, but we're really proud of your success and our partnership between ShipBob and Nood. Thank you for really being a great partner, and we're excited to see you keep growing. Everybody stay on now. You'll be put over to FBA Automation. learn more about Omnichannel Unpacked. Have a good day.